All right, so let's have a look at transformations of graphs. And the first one we're going to look at is vertical translation. All right, and if you remember anything from C6, whenever you translate something, what you really do is that you move it in a straight line without turning. Now, vertical translation says the graph of f of x plus a can be obtained from the graph of f of x by moving f of x vertically upwards a units if a is greater than 0. And here a is greater than 0 means that a is positive. All right. So if a is positive, you're going to move your graph what? A units what? Vertically upwards. And you're going to move f of x, the graph of y is equal to f of x, vertically downwards, a units if a is less than 0. And here, a is less than 0 means that a is negative. Now, another important point is that when you translate the graph of y is equal to f of x to the graph y is equal to f of x plus a, all the a point xy on the graph of y is equal to f of x is going to become the point x comma y plus a, and a there could either be what? Positive or negative. So in other words, if I translate vertically upwards, the x coordinate vertical, if I translate vertically, the x coordinate is going to remain the same and the y coordinate is going to change. It's either going to what? Increase means I'm going up, or decrease means I'm moving it what? Vertically downwards. Let's have a look at an example. Example 38. Example 38 says, transform the graph of f of x is equal to x squared to the graph of the function, to graph the function g of x is equal to x squared plus 2. All right, so to the left here, what I have is the graph of f of x is equal to x squared. That's what I have. Now, I'm being asked to transform this graph. So the graph is there, and we have some points on the graph. Points on the graph are like 1, 1 here, 2, 4 here, because when x is 2, f of x would be equal to 2 squared, which is 4. So the points 1, 1, and 2, 2, 0, 0, which is the origin, minus 1, 1, minus 2, 4, minus 2, 4, are points on the graph f of x is equal to x squared. So if I wish to transform this to graph g of x is equal to x squared plus 2, the plus 2 is telling me that I must move the graph 2 units upwards. So we're going to do that by moving coordinates, that known coordinates on the graph. For example, the origin 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 4. We're going to move all of them 2 units vertically upwards. So if I move 2, 2 units vertically upwards, it's going to become 2, 6, which is here. 1, 1 is going to become 1, 3, which is here. All I did was move it 2 units vertically upwards. 2 units vertically upwards. 2 units vertically upwards. All right. And again, what we're doing is we're transforming the graph f of x is equal to x squared to graph the function g of x is equal to x squared plus 2. And we already said in order to do this, all I have to do is move the graph of x of f of x, which is equal to x squared, 2 units vertically upwards. And how did we say we're going to do that? we simply move what known points on the graph of f of x is equal to x squared 2 units vertically upwards. And then once we have done that, all that remains is for us to sketch our curve. All right, bit of trial and error. Sort of difficult with the device I'm using, but let's try and do the best that we can. All right. All right. So this would be the graph of g of x is equal to x g of x is equal to x squared plus 2. All right, let's have a look at a second example. All right, here we're asked to sketch the graph of y is equal to 1 over x. If you're going to sketch any graph, you're going to need coordinates. All right, so we have a pair of axes to the left. So let's obtain some coordinates. We have y is equal to 1 over x. So when x is 1, y becomes 1 over 1. When x is 1, so x is equal to 1. Y is 1 over 1, which is also 1. So the point 1, 1 is on the graph. When x is 2, y is equal to 1 over 2, which is a half. So this point is here. When x is 4 or 3, you get a third. When x is 4, you get a quarter. So somewhere around there. When x is a half, so when x is equal to a half, y is equal to 1 divided by a half, which is equal to 1 divided by a half is the same as multiplying by 2. So you have 1 multiplied by 2, which is 2. So a half 2 and a quarter 4. So those are some points on the graph. All right. So let's see if we can get a curve. All right. Negative values. When x is minus 1, again, y is minus 1. So that's that point here. When x is minus 1, y will be equal to 1 over minus 1, which is still minus 1. When x is 2, you're going to have what? Minus 2, you're going to have 1 over minus 2, which is minus a half. Here, a quarter here. When x is a half, you're going to get minus 2 here. A quarter, you're going to get 4. So something like that. All right. So first thing we're asked to do is we're asked to sketch the graph of, so this would be the graph of y is equal to 1 over x. Points to note, it is important to note that both the x-axis and y-axis are asymptotes. What are asymptotes again? Now, an asymptote is a line that the graph approaches but never ever what meets. All right, so of course the y-axis, which is x is equal to 0, x can never ever be 0 because you can't divide by 0. So as I said, the y-axis and x-axis are asymptotes. All right, so so the first thing we're asked to do is that we're asked to sketch the graph of y is equal to x, 1 over x. Then now it says, hence, sketch the graph of y is equal to 1 over x minus 2. y is equal to 1 over x minus 2. Now, to do that, all right, so let's go down to the bottom where I actually already have the graph of y is equal to 1 over x. So this is the graph of y is equal to 1 over x. Now, we're told earlier that if you have the graph of f of x is equal, if you want the graph of f of x plus a and you have the graph of f of x, all you simply have to do is move your graph either vertically upwards or vertically downwards. So we have the graph of y is equal to 1 over x, and we want the graph of y is equal to 1 over x minus 2. All right, so the minus 2 there is telling me I need to move this thing 2 units downwards. How do we do that? We're going to what? Move. So here on my graph, I have what? Points on this graph. These are the points we used a while ago to draw the graph. When x is a quarter 4, a half 2, 1 1, 2 a half, 4 a quarter. Those are the points we use to draw the graph. And all we're going to do is move all of those points 2 units vertically downwards. So the point a quarter 4 is going to become a quarter 2. Move it 2 units downwards. A half 2 is going to become a half 0. 2 units downwards. So you're going to move this what? This is 1, 2, 2 units downwards. This point comes here. And 1, 2, that point comes there. And here's something to remember, that since y is equal to 0 as an asymptote, it means that y is equal to minus 2 is an asymptote. So this is y is equal to minus 2, a new asymptote. All right, we're moving all the points 2 units downwards. This one comes here. This one goes here. 2 units down. This one comes here. This one goes here. 2 units down. Yeah, this one goes here. And this one will probably go somewhere around here. All right, so essentially we're ready. And all we have to do now is we just need to sketch our graph. All right, so to the best of our ability. All right, so we're sketching. All right. And here. All right. So in other words, the top one that is black, it's all we did was to move it what? All to get the graph of and this will become the graph of y is equal to 1 over x minus 2. So to get the graph of y is equal to 1 over x minus 2, given the graph y is equal to 1 over x, we simply what? Take what? Um, known points on the graph of y is equal to 1 over x and move them 2 units vertically downwards. And then after that, all we have to do is to what? Draw a curve through those points. Bear in mind, y is equal to the y-axis and the x-axis were both asymptotes. And after we transform it or translate the graph, the y-axis remain an asymptote, and the line y is equal to minus 2 becomes a second asymptote, the second asymptote.